In sports, this is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
Oh, it is without a doubt a bitch and moan Monday. No question about it. And here we sit looking like idiots in these stupid creamsicle bucket hats. Yes, we're doing this to make a point because, as I've told you many, many times, Buccaneer fans, creamsicle sucks. It's awful. It has nothing but negative mojo. Nick Geddes, this is why I told you Tom Brady, the greatest to ever play at all time, told the Buccaneers, I ain't putting it on. I will never be seen in that freaking creamsicle because it has negative mojo. So, that's so bad I'm putting on a Rays hat. That's how bad it is. Take this, burn it. Burn all of your creamsicle gear. If you want to be winners, Buccaneer fans, burn it. Get rid of it. You're 1-4 in throwback games now. You had 3 winning seasons in 20 years. 20 years in that color. Nick, take it off. Take it off. As a matter of fact.
I will not take it off. I will not do it. I'm going down with the creamsicle ship today. Oh goodness, what is he doing? Oh my, come on.
This too. Burn it all. Burn it all.
That's just disrespectful. Disrespectful to throw the flag down like that.
What is there to respect? What is there to respect? Look how they played yesterday. They were horrible. They were awful. Team gets off to a nice start, and you guys want to ruin it with this creamsicle stuff? You want to just ruin it with this creamsicle stuff? You're crazy. It's awful. Take it off. Put on another hat for God's sakes.
I
will say though, just to the eye, ooh, they're sweet on the field.
Yeah, they
look
are
so good.
Yeah, they are.
They really do look good.
Yeah.
So does a prom dress. Looks great. Has no business being on a football field.
Listen,
use it for Dancing with the Stars, not a foot. You can't play good football. I think it's something you do with that's why the deep passes didn't work. There's depth perception issues. The quarterback can't see it's so blinding that it messes up your depth perception, and that's why Baker was missing the deep throws. I'm convinced of it. Tell me I'm wrong.
I'm conflicted. I have old pewter power right here.
I'll go with that.
I could put it on right now.
Yeah, I would go with that. Please, I can't look at it anymore. It's distracting.
All right.
It's a loser mentality.
All right.
Thank you. God, for God's sakes.
All right.
Sal Palantonio, who sat down with Baker Mayfield last week, and with a great, I don't know if you saw it on SportsCenter. I put it up on our Twitter. Fantastic piece. Sit down with Baker Mayfield. Of course, it looks like, doesn't look so great a day after his worst performance of the year by far. But you know what? I'm not losing hope with this team. There was still some good stuff yesterday that we'll get into. But that was bad. That was really, really bad. And but that being said, the Lions, after I watched the Eagles self-destruct last night, the Eagles, all right, they're elite up front. I get it. The Lions are pretty damn good up front on both sides too. And the Bucs, I think, weren't bad in that department. Weren't great either. But there's some positives to take away from this game. But the overwhelming thing I get is, and we forget this sometimes because we want to get into the strategies, right? And the play calling and the personnel, and do they have playmakers? Was Canales calling a good game? This game came down to making plays. When the plays are there to be made, you got to make them. You can bitch and moan about Dave Canales all you want. Mike Evans is streaking down the field, and for some reason, I just don't understand, Baker Mayfield double clutches that ball. And then it gets knocked down, and it turns into an interception, and luckily only 3 points because the defense holds. But I don't, for the life of me, how does he not release that ball with anticipation? The safety is dead flat-footed. Put some air under it. Michael just, there's nobody near him. He might have dropped it. I hate to say.
Well,
he may have dropped it, but that's my point.
Or he might have blew a tire on the way to the end zone.
Yeah, that too, or a hamstring, right? But that's the thing. And he dropped a key third down pass again. And those were huge. Just a couple of plays like that, like Tom Moore always says, and Luke Gedeke, I think, was quoted as saying this, or Tristan Wirfs. 4 or 5 games are going to decide 4 or 5 plays are going to decide almost every game. You can't miss TP like that twice deep, wide freaking open. You got to hit him. Trey Palmer's running 4 strides behind the defensive backs. You got to at least put air under it, let him catch it and get caught, but you got to get the gain. And Baker was awful. He was terrible on so many levels. He wasn't for whatever reason, he just was not pulling the trigger with anticipation yesterday. He was scared to throw picks. I don't know what it was, but he was just holding the football, and that cost him on multiple plays.
He looked antsy the entire day back there. That was my thing, and I think that probably why he was double clutching so many times throughout that game. And that's the weird part is Baker's not afraid to rip it. If there's anything you could say about him, he's usually not afraid to rip it. And the protection was really, really good yesterday against a really good Lions front. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson, I'm at the game, obviously, but I don't recall hearing his name once over the PA or anything like he made a play. There was nothing out of Aiden Hutchinson, so shout out to Luke Gedeke, continuing to be a stalwart on the right side of the line.
And Cody Mock, actually, I got through about a quarter of the game on tape. Cody Mock had responsibilities a couple times on him and did a nice job as well.
Right.
So, I don't think protection was an issue.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, my main takeaways is, number one, you got to make plays. You got to make plays when they're there to be made. The Lions did that. Amon-Ra St. Brown on his touchdown, there's a bust, number one. Dole said there were a bust on both of those plays. So, again, communication in the back end's got to be better. And tackle somebody. You got to tackle him. They had 4 or 5 opportunities to tackle him. He gets a great block by Reynolds that takes out CD3 and 2 other guys. But that's a play. That was a 3rd and long, a 3rd and 12 or 3rd and 10, I believe, that they make. And the Bucs didn't tackle. They don't make. The deep ball to Jamison Williams. Ryan Neal is right there to make the play, even though there was a coverage bust on that as well. Ryan Neal is right there to make the play. You got to make the play. Jamison Williams makes the play. Jared Goff on 3rd down, making plays, making stick throws, putting the ball where it needs to go, making plays. Bucs had opportunities. They just couldn't cash in. Now, I will have a couple of things to say about not targeting Chris Godwin enough. You had 17 targets to Mike Evans in TP, 17 total targets. You get 6 catches out of that. That's not good enough. That's on the receivers. That's on the quarterback. That's on both of them. You got to be better. You got to be better. You can't, Godwin had 7 targets and 6 catches. And this has been a recurring thing with Mike, by the way. Obviously TP is young. We don't know his history just yet, but you can't have I think he had 7 targets, 2 catches. 2 of those weren't his fault, right? I mean, he was wide open and could have been touchdowns. So he should have had a 2 touchdown game. The Bucs should have won this game.
Yeah, so, and you look at the Lions. Their 2 best players on offense are Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta, or Montgomery, but Sam Laporta obviously in the passing game. Amon-Ra St. Brown got 15 targets in that game.
Yeah,
he got 15. Laporta, who shout out Levante David, did a great job on Sam Laporta. He was blanketed on most of these targets, but he still got 11 targets.
Right.
So you can tell the game plan was we're just going to feed our really good players the ball. Yeah. And the Bucs, for whatever reason, whether it's Mike some games, whether it's Chris Godwin some games, they don't do that. And the most telling part, and this is where I go to the play calling a little bit. There was a moment there, I think it was the 3rd quarter, when the Lions had just taken a 17-6 lead. This was after the Jamison Williams touchdown. Bucs come out. They throw a little comeback route to Mike Evans for a 1st down, right? And I'm like, okay, 1st down throw, now we're rolling. They follow that up with back-to-back runs to Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah.
2 runs in a row to Keyshawn Vaughn for nothing. And then on 3rd down, immediately Baker just throws it out to the flat to Keyshawn Vaughn, incomplete. So that, to me, that's the game plan there. Down 17-6, a drive you have to score, and we're giving 3 plays in a row to Keyshawn Vaughn, who shouldn't be on this football team. Enough. Get the ball to your best players. And I see an offense right now that doesn't take enough, I think, shots down the field. I think they tried in this game, and Baker just straight up didn't hit it. Yeah. And maybe it was clear that Baker wasn't going to hit him all day, so they went away from it. But they had guys open down the field in the early part of that game. He couldn't hit them, and that's what you talk about. You got to make plays. But it just felt like the offense, I never had confidence they were going to get in the end zone that entire game. I just never had confidence. They could be playing till Thursday, and I don't think they're going to score in that game.
Well, they get down. You have a 3rd and 1 at, I believe, the 12-yard line, and you throw a fade to Mike Evans. And I know everybody's like, fade to Mike Evans. That's money. Go look at the numbers. It's not money.
Not in that situation.
But first of all, it's not a great high percentage play. Mike Evans is not that great at catching fades. That's, otherwise he'd have 15 touchdowns
or getting
every
quick
year.
separation on those.
Or fades. Getting quick separation.
There's a reason why he had to do the OPI there because, right. The ball wasn't great, let's be honest, in the first place. But Mike had no shot of getting there whatsoever, so he has to commit pass interference in the end zone.
He doesn't have to commit OPI.
I guess not, but
I don't think it was a situation where that guy's going to intercept the football. You got to push him down. It wasn't to that point
yet. It's just it's a part of this offense that's a problem, and it's going to hold them back all year. I think is, they have trust. They seem to have trust in run game in certain situations, right, when they shouldn't. But then in 3rd and 1, I need a yard. I just need a yard. Yeah. Let's get down there in the goal line territory, and I got 4 more plays to punch it in. And on 3rd and 1, we're doing low percentage throw to Mike Evans from like the 12-yard line.
Exactly.
There's just no sense in that.
And I think in that situation also, you're thinking, I got 2 downs to get this. It's right. And it wasn't even a full yard. It's quarterback sneak. Get the freaking first down. Let's go. All right. You got 1-on-1 with Mike Evans. That's never a terrible situational go-to. But I don't want to throw a fade. I just don't want to throw a fade in that situation. Give me a better pattern. Give me a better move. Give me something. But I thought in 3rd and 1, you could have had a better choice there. And the running, even though they only ran the ball 16 times, they didn't have it a lot because they could not couldn't get off the damn field defensively. And we'll talk a little bit about that. The 3rd down defense was atrocious. And what seemed, early in the game, they bring. It was a 3rd and 7, and they bring a double A gap blitz, and they get to Goff. He has to throw it early. They're playing man-to-man behind it, and they have success. They didn't go back to it hardly at all. They faked it. They kept faking the A gap blitz, and they're just eating them up on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 12, middle of the field, wide open.
They made it easy. They made it very easy on Jared Goff to just sit, especially in the second half. He just sat back there. Easy. He could have pulled up a folding chair and just sat back there and gone to work. That's how bad.
And that's because you can't get any pressure with 4 guys.
No, they can't.
Because nobody's coming off the edge. JTS can't beat anybody, and I hate to say it, Shaq Barrett can't beat anybody. I know Jack was a little under the weather yesterday as well. But we're 5 games in. 5 games in.
JP, they kept 6 guys in that outside linebacker room. 6 guys. We were told this was a strength of this football team so much that they kept 6 guys. Yeah. And not one of them can get home to the quarterback. It doesn't matter what offensive line it is. They can't get home.
Yeah.
Like you can only play such good defense behind that for so long before you break.
All right, let's take a quick break. Sal Palantonio is going to join us here. He sat down with Baker Mayfield last week, did a great feature on Baker. Of course, doesn't look so good right now, but it was a great feature. It was a great insight into where he's at. And folks, don't give up on Baker Mayfield after one bad game. But Sal Palantonio will join us, and then we'll get back into some more Bucs talk. We'll hear from Baker and Bowles, and we'll do college football as well. Big show ahead. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVESLawgroup.com, and Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Chris Lugo will join us at 11:45, talk some injuries and health. So stay with us. Sal Palantonio coming up next.
Sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold and Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold and Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano.
That will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595 or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group and also Bay Area Modern Medical Center. All right, let's welcome in our good friend, NFL senior reporter on ESPN, the great, the iconic Sal Palantonio. What's up, Sal Pal? How are you?
Oh, I don't know about all that. I'm just glad to join you this morning on a week 6 Monday going into week 7 of the NFL. You know, I've always said, JP, and I know you and I have talked about this in the past, week 6 is diabolical, you know, because it really marks the 2-month portion of where these teams are. You know, you go through preseason and you go through the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, and it starts to pile up. The wear and tear on your body starts to pile up. That's why coaches love that bye coming in late October, early November to get yourself healed. And you just see players getting injured all over the place. It's a war of attrition out there. It really is.
Yeah, and I know the Bucs are concerned about Baker, his left wrist, his left hand. He came out. He was getting X-rays before he came into the press room. I saw him in the hallway, and they were very concerned about that. So I don't know where that's headed, but it's his non-throwing hand. But still, you know, if there's and he said X-rays were negative, but we'll see where that goes. Well, just, you know, Sal Pal, your thoughts on the game yesterday. I mean, to me, you know, we try to overall analyze these things so much. Sometimes it just comes down to football players making plays, right? And the Lions did it, and the Bucs did not in the crucial situations.
Right. Let's talk little picture, big picture.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the big picture is this. The Bucs are atop the division, but they've lost to two of the best teams in the conference in Detroit and Philadelphia. And the reason is because of the underperformance of the offense. That's the bottom line. You can't score 18 points a game. That's why Tom Brady retired. That's why Byron Leftwich is no longer in Tampa.
Yep.
So they have a new offensive coordinator and a new quarterback, and they have decided as a team really not to put a lot into their running game, and that's a mistake. I think they need to figure out how to play a little bit more small ball and run the football and stick with the run. They had such a disparity yesterday in run pass that you're gonna just force the defense to tee off on your quarterback. Baker's quote is incredible. They hit my hand a couple of times. It was an annoying pass rush. They wouldn't get any sacks, but they just hit home and let their presence be known. So they did a really good job. So let's look at little picture. I think Dave Canales, I looked at the offense. I did not look at the Bucs defense. I looked at the offense, and I looked at the offense on third down. It's not a very creative third down offense, JP. In fact, it's quite vanilla. They need to do more motion. They definitely need to do a rolling pocket. When Stefanski was successful with Baker Mayfield, he was moving out of the pocket. Because he's not big in stature, he needs to have clear passing lanes.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see more play action, boot action, roll him out of the pocket. He's so good when he's on the move. And he was just a statue back there, and they were in his face. So, I think it's totally fixable, totally. Baker's a tough guy. You'll have to see about the gash he has on his hand.
Yeah.
But, because that can affect it affected his touch and accuracy yesterday. Everybody always says you throw with your arm, but your accuracy comes from your hands.
Yeah.
And if your hands are damaged in any way, with your thumb or your fingers, it really impacts on your accuracy.
Yeah, and I think I don't know when he injured. I think it's his pointer finger on his right hand that got ripped a little bit, but I'm not sure when that happened. I don't know if that was late or early, but those deep balls that he's been hitting this year, he didn't hit. And I would agree with you. And yesterday seemed to be a bit of an anomaly because most of the season they have been moving him around, but yesterday they did not for whatever reason. And here's the thing about the run game. I was going through some of the tape this morning, and they're just getting no push up front. Just zero push, and there doesn't seem to be any scheme to the run game. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, what are they trying to accomplish here? Who are they picking on? What is their scheme here? And it just that I saw nothing in at least the first half that showed me, and they got no push. So it's like 16 carries, I think about 1.9 a carry. It's a waste of time almost. What do you do when you just can't move people?
Yeah, 16 carries, 49 yards, 46 yards, 2.9 a carry. The longest run was 8 yards, JP.
Yeah,
so you're right. And two of those 16 carries were Baker.
Yeah.
So, they need to refocus, recommit. They've already had their bye, right? So they should have spent the bye really working on creating balance on offense. You can't have your quarterback dropping back 37 times and you're running the ball only 16 times. But if you're going to do that, you need to have Baker outside the pocket.
Yeah,
he's no good inside the pocket.
No question.
He's not no good. He's much better outside the pocket.
He's much better.
I believe in Baker Mayfield. I think, they played a team, the Detroit Lions, that only scored 20 points. Listen, I know that the Bucs gave up some big plays defensively, but the bottom line is they're a top 10 team in points allowed.
Yep.
They're under 20 points a game. I think it's 18.5 now, 18.7.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now, 18.7.
Yep.
And you gave up 20 points at home. You gave up 20 points at home. That's less than 3 touchdowns. you got to win the ball game, KP. I'm sorry. You just do. You can't be shut out in the first and fourth quarters.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awful. And I want to dig in a little bit on Baker because you sat down with him. Great feature, by the way. We put it up on all our socials. Tremendous feature, kind of getting into what motivates him, where he's at right now in his life and career. What was your big takeaway from sitting down with Baker? What sense did you get?
I'm sorry they ran that feature. It's always like the kiss of death, right? You're right. I really like Baker, and I wish him a lot of success.
Yeah.
He's got moxie. The fact that he was the only two-time Burlsworth Trophy winner in FBS history, walking
I love
on
that.
Two schools, that just shows you what kind of resilience and toughness he has. And I've always thought he got a bad rap. I've always liked him. I've met him a couple of times and really appreciate his moxie and approach. But there are certain things about Baker that, he's brutally honest, but, you have to give him some help. And maybe sometimes he doesn't accept it or reach out for help. And I'm talking about not, help. I'm talking about around the football team, there needs to be a plan.
Right.
To help Baker Mayfield. He's not Joe Montana or Troy Aikman, but even Bill Walsh and Jimmy Johnson helped those two quarterbacks with Emmett and the tight end and Michael Irvin. And Joe Montana, of course, had a great system with Bill Walsh. You've got to help a guy. The quarterback, Ron Jaworski, told me many, many years ago when he first put me on the NFL matchup show, quarterback is the most dependent position in all of sports. And let me repeat that. Quarterback is the most dependent position in all of sports. It's really worth repeating. You got to have good protection. You got to have good playmakers. You got to have a good plan.
And what's weird about that is, don't we all focus on the quarterback as the savior? It's the most dependent position, but we act like it's the position that can independently drive any team, and that's just not the case. You've got to have a roster, and if I'm completely honest right now, I think where the Bucs really missed in this running game was going out and getting a running back. I think they and I thought Rachaad White was going to have a big year this year. I just don't see the vision. I don't see the intensity. And you covered some of the greatest backs to ever play this game, Sal Pal. That's these guys, the great ones, can run behind almost any line because they have great vision. They have great feel for the game. They have great, obviously, physical skills. I just don't see that from any of the Buccaneer running backs. Your thoughts?
And where is it in the NFL? Anywhere. But I agree with you.
Yeah.
It's a good running back who runs hard, who has great vision, is hard to find. It really is. And one that can sustain that over a season. It's just difficult to find it. I mean, all the ones that we've seen in the last couple of years, Jacobs and Saquon and Derrick Henry, Miles Sanders, whoever, they run out of steam pretty fast.
Yeah.
So you got to have a group. The Eagles, proved that in 2017. Andy Reid proves it all the time. You got to have a group of guys. Yeah,
with some different skill sets, because that's definitely not a part of the problem with the Bucs are having right now. Sal Pal, this overall though, when you say big picture for this team, you look at the fact that they win next week and they beat Atlanta. You get another divisional win. You're 4-2 and probably 2 games clear of anybody else. So as bad as you feel on this Monday with a team that, we all expected to be better than I think most of the experts, but the goal here is to win the NFC South. You get to 4-2 next week. And by the way, Desmond Ridder was horrendous yesterday, with a capital horrend. He was bad. So this is a great opportunity for the Bucs to get to 4-2, and then you're fine, right? You're in great spot.
Well, you are. You've had a quality win at New Orleans.
Right.
And if you can beat the Falcons, Buffalo is beatable.
Yeah.
But it's a short week.
Yeah.
And you got to go to Buffalo. Hard to do. Super hard. Right? So the game to me is after the Thursday game and you get the mini bye.
Yeah.
is at Houston. That to me is the pivotal game. Because if you can win that game, you'll beat Tennessee at home, you'll lose to San Francisco, then you can beat Indy, Carolina, and Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And then you still have New Orleans and Carolina on the back end. You can get yourself 10-11 wins.
Yes, no question. So
you can get yourself to 10-11 wins, and you can win the division. So to me, you got to take care of business, no question, against Atlanta, no question. But to me, the pivotal game, the game that will decide, in my view, whether they win the division or not, or whether we have something going in Tampa, is November 5th at Houston.
A great point.
That's the game for me.
And on the flip side of this, how much of this you think is just, Detroit? I think we all thought they were a good team, coming to this season. Maybe there were some questions if it was fool's gold, the winning streak last year. But, here they sit 5-1. I think they're undefeated on the road. They just take care of business. Just what has stood out? I mean, what's impressed you about that team and where they sit, you think, in the hierarchy around the NFC, at least right now?
Jared Goff. Jared Goff has a live arm. He's very accurate. He's not rattled. He loses his top running back and he still finds a way to win. That to me is very impressive, really is. So I like Jared Goff. I always have. He's already taken one team to a Super Bowl in the Rams losing to the Pats. He's a playoff caliber quarterback. And that to me is the difference. So it's the difference, first you have to look right at your division. He's the difference in that division. Is he better than Justin Fields? Absolutely. Is he better than the developing Jordan Love? Absolutely. Is he better than the declining Kirk Cousins? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at that and you say, all right, well, the Lions at 5 wins. Man, wow. They could easily win 12, 13 games. Because when you look at how things line up for them. So they're at Baltimore, right? And then they're on Monday Night Football with Las Vegas coming in. And then they got the Chargers, Bears, Packers, at New Orleans, at Chicago. They still have Chicago twice, and they still have Minnesota. Wow. So and their road games are not that tough. Chargers are not tough at big time tough. They can beat Baltimore because I think Goff is better than Lamar Jackson. And their road games are at Minnesota, at Chicago, at New Orleans, at the Chargers. You could see them winning 3 out of 4 of those road games before they have to play Dallas.
And shout out to Brad Holmes, a Tampa native, Chamberlain High's finest, the GM of the Lions, he's done a hell of a job. I rolled the dice getting rid of Matthew Stafford, but got a lot in return and has set the Lions up for a Super Bowl run. So he's done. I don't know if you've had any time to chat with Brad Holmes at all, but he's done a hell of a job with Detroit. I got to give him a lot of credit.
Yeah, it's always painful when you have to reset like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to have. You got to have a steely stomach for that kind of stuff, where you're going to get hammered.
Yep.
And Dan Campbell was rough around the edges at the beginning, but now they're in a position where, man, if they just take care of business at home and win on the road in their division, they're going to win 12 games.
Sal Pal, I know you got to get out of here. Appreciate your time. Any other observations from this week where both of our undefeated teams go down? My 72 Miami Dolphins will preserve again. Yeah, I mean, what a crazy league. I don't think anybody scored more than 26 points yesterday. There's a lot of bad football out there, but here we are. And it's anybody's game. I don't see any dominant teams out there. 49ers, probably.
The course correction happens usually in week 6 and 7 because now players have been on the football field for 2 months.
Yep.
And when you're on the football field and you're in a car wreck every Sunday, it takes a toll, and injuries really start to crop up on your key players. I've always said this: watch weeks 6 and 7. Those are the pivotal weeks where players have now been on the field for 60 days and hitting one another. And it's who can sustain it through depth through size and speed, through scheme, practice habits. You know, Nick Sirianni said to me, JP, in the summer, he said his analytics department looked at all the reasons why the Super Bowl losers don't get back to the Super Bowl. It's been 1 in 28 years.
Yeah.
And the two factors were, number one, fall off in offensive production. That certainly happened with Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And two, injuries. Remember, they had all 22 starters healthy going into Super Bowl 57. Yesterday, when the game ended, they were missing 8 starters of the 22.
Wow.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of attrition in a league where it's hard to keep depth. And this is where the great coaches shine, I think.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, Lane Johnson, who hadn't given up a sack since November of 2020. Jalen Carter, Rookie of the Year on defense. Darius Slay, Pro Bowl corner. Reed Blankenship, your number 1 tackler at safety. Your starting right guard. So Cam Jurgens, your starting right guard, is out, and Lane Johnson, your starting right tackle, is out.
Totally different football team.
The best inside cover corner in the league, in my view, Avante Maddox, gone for the year with a triceps injury. Your number 3 wide receiver, Quez Watkins, and one of your starting safety, Justin Evans. 8 starters. 8. Wow. Unbelievable. Yeah. And I think the Lane Johnson loss was the biggest injury of week 6. Now, get this, JP. If you're talking about the NFC and where things will come back, since 2013, including the playoffs, the Eagles are 90-52 with Lane Johnson in the starting lineup. That's a .633 winning percentage. In the 36 games without Johnson, the Eagles' winning percentage drops to .361. They're 13-23.
No way. Well,
I'm looking at it. I just got it from Evan Kaplan, the head of the ESPN Stats and Information NFL department. I emailed him this morning. He's actually a Monday Night Football out in Los Angeles. He's up early. I mean, it's without a doubt, it's the biggest, other than quarterback, it's the biggest disparity for an injured player, wins and losses depending on availability.
That's insane. Maybe the left tackle is the most important. Maybe we've overvalued the quarterback all this time. Maybe it's that.
Well, yeah,
guy.
Lane Johnson's going to the Pro Bowl. He's going to the Hall of Fame. But there's the difference.
Wow. Yep. And which coaches
thanks for
can
having
coach
me
around
on the show, JP.
You're the
Hopefully
best,
I'm
Sal
down
Pal.
there soon, and you guys are great. Thanks for having me. Good show. Thank you.
You're the best. Thanks, Sal Pal. And you did not curse Baker Mayfield. Doesn't work that way. The best. Wow. How about that disparity? I mean, that's from 633 winning percentage to 335. Holy crap.
I don't know if you'll find a bigger disparity than that one.
I don't think you will.
But it's true. I mean, the quarterback is so important, obviously, but look at the 49ers yesterday. They dropped Trent Williams. Hello. Talk about Hall of Fame left tackles. They dropped McCaffrey. You dropped Deebo Samuel. All of a sudden, the 49ers offense looks a little ordinary, doesn't it?
It sure does. It sure does. And this is where, to me, coaching really comes into play now. You know, you got your full complement of guys. You can go out there and scheme it up. Okay. Now you got to, all right, my left tackle's down. How do I scheme that up? Now, do I have to take a tight end over there? Do I have to bring a running back on every single play? Okay, well, that's going to keep, I've been getting third downs with this running back out in the flat every single, So now that third down play that I've been running all year long is no longer available because I've got to, there's so many permutations now that you got to go through to make up for what you don't have, right? And and now you've also got to evaluate players. Is this guy better than this guy? I'm asking myself, is D. Delaney need to be on the field more than he is? More than Ryan Neal? Yes, absolutely he does. D. Delaney makes plays.
If Todd Bowles is a serious head coach, and we're about playing the best players and the guys who make plays,
right?
And D. Delaney is starting
to be on
this week. Yeah. This week, not Ryan Neal. Okay, I've seen 6 games of Ryan Neal, and I haven't seen one play this guy's made. He looks lost in coverage.
Well, you look at him; he's 6'3", 210 pounds. He's physically like, oh my God, look at this guy. D. Delaney's what, 5'10", 185, same size as Rondé Barber.
Right.
It's like you can't. And I understand it. This guy was a highly rated PFF safety, and I don't want to put it all on him, right? But, a lot of that stuff in the middle, Ryan Neal, you got to be more aggressive.
Listen, I said it a few weeks ago, and I stand by it. D. Delaney is the Keith Tandy of this defense.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying he's the greatest player in the world, but he just makes things happen when he's out there. And look around that defense right now. Who else is making things happen?
Nobody.
I got two corners who are making, almost $40 million combined. What are they giving you right now?
Not much. Not my. Jamel Dean made a couple of plays yesterday, I'm thinking. But it's just the level of open receivers on third down was just ridiculous.
Right.
And these simple square ins in the middle of the field.
Right. And then when Todd Bowles is saying, we had bust in this and that, man, these guys have been playing for Todd Bowles now for 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Why are the same players in the same defensive system that I don't think probably changes that much year to year? Why are we still having coverage bust on key third downs?
Yeah.
You had 2 weeks to prepare for this team, mind you.
This is.
But Todd Bowles told you, okay, I know we're going to play his press conference, but I'll just bring it up right now. He used the word sluggish like 5 times.
He gave him 7 days off in a row.
Sluggish. And what do we say? Teams always take on the identity of their head coach. Dan Campbell, for as corny as it sounded, came in first day, we're going to be biting kneecaps off, and we're going to be killers and this and that. Yeah. You want to know what I saw yesterday? I saw Craig Reynolds just blocking Carlton Davis to space.
That wasn't a block. That was
he mauled him. That was assault.
That was assault and battery.
That was battery right there on the football field. Yeah. But guess what? That's what you expect out of a Dan Campbell football team.
Yeah.
But then I get the Bucs, and we've already talked to Nazem about what Todd Bowles is as a head coach and whatever. And then what's his team doing? Yeah, we're coming out of the bye week sluggish. We're just sluggish. It all makes sense. It all makes sense.
You beat New Orleans, on the road, and you're like, all right, let's give you, you got the week off. Everybody's yelling and screaming. It's fantastic. Okay. The NFL says you get 4 days off in the bye week. If you have to have 4 consecutive days off. All right. You can do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday is what it basically comes down to, right? And then you have to give them a day off last week. So for my money, you get Monday, then we work Tuesday, Wednesday, and I think I'll bring it back on the bye week early. So I'd say you work Tuesday, Wednesday. And I understand you can't put them in pads, you can't fix a lot of stuff, but that team looked off. It looked off.
In the beginning.
Yeah, so bring them in Tuesday and Wednesday, run them. How about we work on the timing of the deep ball? How about we work on the timing with the receivers and Baker Mayfield and keep them sharp? Because he was not sharp. He looked like a guy that hadn't played in 2 weeks,
Right. And I wonder, this is not the reason why the Bucs lost or anything, but
part of it in my mind.
Well, no, I'm going to a different point here.
Okay.
But, because you mentioned the creamsicle thing and you want to bury it and whatever. I will say, from my vantage point, to me, the creamsicle excitement, that's for the fans.
Right.
Is the way I view it. And I felt like this week, and maybe I'm just totally off base and grasping at straws, but I'm just, thinking of things. I felt like the players, there was maybe too much emphasis this week of creamsicle. There were so many questions about it. They were always talking about it. I mean, they did the whole pregame thing where they showed up in, 70s muscle cars or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, it felt like, whereas the concentration should have been on Detroit, there was a lot of, I felt like the players kind of took on that whole thing, we're wearing the creamsicle. And I think that's a fan thing. Again, not the reason why the Bucs lost. They have a lot more issues than what uniform they're wearing and things like that.
Right.
But it's just, I thought was worth putting out there, going
into
this
the players
week
were a little distracted by it.
Maybe. And I'm just saying, when you're facing a team like Detroit, I feel like, again, 2 weeks to prepare and all that, and you know what you're getting into, and you had your healthiest roster that you're probably going to have all year long. I mean, who's the only player that sat yesterday? Anthony Nelson? That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I mean, you just expected better, and you didn't get it. So I'm just looking at a lot of things across the board this week of what was going on in one Buck, because it was a team that looked totally unprepared to face one of the best teams in the league.
Yeah, coming off a bye week, you should be fresh, healthy, intense, running around, smacking people. You should look like the more intense team. You should look like the faster, fresher team. Who was that yesterday? Detroit. It was
and the Detroit was banged up going into this game, and they
really banged up.
And they lost their
Really
star
banged
running
up.
back in the second quarter, and David Montgomery had no run game to speak of. But Jared Goff, this is three. This is three now. I don't care. It doesn't matter what scheme it is, system. This guy tears up Todd Bowles' defenses.
Yeah. Yeah, and as I said, I don't think, I haven't looked at the whole tape yet, but I'm gonna say that when I do, I'll come on here tomorrow and say, why did we stop blitzing? Why did we stop? And I know Goff statistically is one of the better quarterbacks against the blitz, but if it's working, do it. And if it's your blitz, I think the Bucs linebacker blitzes are among the best in football because David and Devin White, it's one of the best things he does. Yeah, they both have great timing and vision coming through the middle. They just show up so suddenly to the quarterback, and the play is over.
And particularly Devin White, that's his strength. And
if you're paying two corners $40 million, you should be blitzing every freaking play. They got to be in man-to-man coverage. What good is it putting Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis in soft zone coverage?
Yes,
I mean I can get 100 corners to do that.
Yeah, that's a criticism I have of a Todd Bowles defense. Is it's like he falls back into this like playing this soft zone in that second half, and the defense, I just knew it. They were going to get gassed out at some point.
Yeah.
They were going to get gassed at some point, and they had zero answer for the Lions in that one. Out-coached.
Yeah, we always say third down is a lot about coaching, right? Because you have your bet, you coach everything up for third and what is my play sheet? 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 10, for God's sakes. They score 2 touchdowns on 3rd and 10. What's on my play sheet? These are my best plays for these particular things, right? This is where I'm really breaking down film and scheming up. Oh, Carlton Davis does not play this well. Ryan Neal is too soft in this cover 2 situation. We can exploit that all game long. You got to be self-scouting yourself and say, okay, where are we deficient? Where are we going to get attacked? And when another team goes 9 for 16 on 3rd down on you, and then you got out-coached. You got out-coached. And when your offense is 2 for 12 on 3rd down and you don't seem to have any good plays for 3rd down. Now, again, a lot of those, it wasn't Dave Canales' fault that Baker missed 3 deep passes that should have been touchdowns. Right. I mean, come on. I mean, let's just be honest about that. Put 3 more touchdowns on the board. What does this game look like? It looks a lot like New Orleans, right?
Yeah.
27 points.
Yeah, that's the frustrating part for me is I didn't feel like the Eagles just completely outclassed them, out-talented them.
I agree.
All that. Do the Lions
ran for 40 yards.
Right.
We stuffed their run game.
And that's the thing. Like Dan Campbell has said it. I want a guy that can run 25, 30 times a game. I mean, Monty getting hurt was a big part of that, but even when he was in there, they weren't getting much push against the Bucs defensive line. They were doing their job. You made them one-dimensional, and he just kind of picked you apart. Yeah. I mean, outside of the one big throw to Jamison Williams there, everything else was just these 10, 15-yard throws in that zone.
But
and it was just
move
the chain.
Yeah, they were, and that was the difference in the game. All right, we'll take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to hear from Baker Mayfield and Todd Bowles. And also, my favorite pot stirrer is Jason Whitlock. He wrote a tweet today about the NFL that I absolutely adore. And I think it speaks to the NFL. And I watched a lot of ball the last couple of weeks because the Bucs were on a bye, and I watched a lot yesterday in the early window. There's some bad football out there, bro. There's some no teams I think scored more than 26 points yesterday. That's bad football. Last week, 4 teams didn't even score a touchdown. Yesterday, the Bucs did not score a touchdown. Come on, in a league where every rule is set up to score points. Like what the so we're gonna get to that. We got a lot to go with college football as well. Some very interesting games this weekend. The Gators get a huge win at South Carolina. So lots more coming your way. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES and Bay Area Modern Medical Center. We'll talk to Chris Lugo a little bit later on in the show. And if you had any issues with getting your testosterone right, your blood work, you want to lose weight, they've got some great programs, got some great machines, by the way, like high-tech machines that are getting great results, getting people leaner and getting them much more healthy. So Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com is where you go to contact them to get an appointment. Back in 3. Stay with us.
Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well, so do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on Fanstream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back. Great stuff with Sal Palantonio. We always thank him for joining us. And by the way, just go to my Twitter and check out, I think we have it on all our socials, the sit down he did with Baker Mayfield. Really great stuff. Maybe not. You may not want to do that today because you're kind of mad at Baker. I get that, but
a lot of people
really
just
stuff.
Jumped right off the Baker bandwagon after one game, didn't they?
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's crazy because just think about that. For the want of about 3 yards of or a little bit more airtime, we're sitting here going, oh, the Bucs beat the Lions, 26-20. Baker threw 3 deep touchdown passes, and the narrative completely changes, and it's all based on 3 throws, right? 3 throws. That's it.
Right. And again, I'll say this, like I said Friday, there are quarterbacks out there who are making $40 million, $45 million, $50 million, who are playing at the level that Baker Mayfield is playing. And so I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm not expecting Baker Mayfield to go to the Pro Bowl. You should never have been expecting that either. I mean, it's a low risk, I won't even say high reward, necessarily tight move, but it's a low-risk move, and there are a lot of quarterbacks playing really bad out there, making a lot more money. So just relax a little bit on Baker.
Yeah. And before I get to the Jason Whitlock stuff, let's listen to Baker Mayfield. And this is what I love about Baker, because I'm sitting in there in the press conference, and you're wondering, what's going to happen. It's his first really bad game. Might he come unraveled? I didn't expect him to, but I just love the fact that he takes accountability for this and just listen to, there's no BS here. There's no coach speak. There's no deflection. There's no nothing. There's just, I sucked. So let's listen into Baker Mayfield.
Baker, you guys have been so good on third down. Today was kind of the opposite story. Can you just address?
We sucked today. I sucked today. We sucked today. It was awful from the get-go. I mean, just can't play like that. Didn't start fast. We didn't pick it up in the middle, and we didn't finish strong. So, plain and simple, we have to be better. Lions are a good ball club that if we play like that, we're going to lose every time. So, I think the defense and special teams did an amazing job yet again. And offense, we just need to pick our shit up. There's really no other way around it.
You missed Palmer a couple times. Obviously, like if you hit one or two, that's a different game.
Yeah. Not only those two to Trey, but the tipped interception. Mike was going to score a touchdown. Just one of those days where I had everything we wanted, but didn't hit it, didn't execute, and so it's frustrating as hell. So we have to find ways to make it work, and it starts with me. And so we'll fix it.
What's the most frustrating part of it?
Just knowing that the plays are there. There were plays that we should have had and should have executed to where they were game-changing plays, and we didn't do it, and left a lot out there that we should have taken advantage of.
Baker, your coach just said you guys were sluggish coming out of the bye week about 3 or 4 times in his press conference.
I mean,
what's the reason for that?
I don't know, but we'll fix it. I'll fix it. I'll fix my mistakes. I'll fix what I was doing wrong, and we'll get it going. There's zero excuse for our offense to come out and lay an egg like that. That was horrible.
It seemed like it was you weren't able to complete a pass to Mike until the second half, and Trey Palmer, I think you were like 1 of 7 targeting him. Was there anything they were doing with those 2 guys downfield that was making that more of a challenge?
They did a good job passing some things off. I think there were a few plays early on that we could have hit those guys, but didn't exactly do it. And no, they did a good job passing some things off in the red zone. One of the plays on second down in the red zone early on in the game, 2nd and 3, they wound up bringing a pressure. Both Mike and Chris would have had a one-on-one, but they did a good job bringing that pressure to get us out of it. And so, there were definitely plays there that we just didn't have them today.
Baker, Todd said your goal said your hand came back negative.
Yeah, X-rays are good. It just hurts. Took a nice metal face mask right to the hand, so feels good.
What about
That's
this for
gotta
you?
hurt.
Because I know even at times when the ground game has kind of struggled this year, it seems like you've been able to lean on that, but that was a little bit more of a struggle today.
A little bit. Their guys are real aggressive downhill players, so you saw some of the RPOs that we were able to take advantage of, but then at the same time, when we did hand it off, they would rally and tackle the ball. It was the same things that we talked about earlier in the week. They play extremely hard. They rally. They play for each other, and so you can tell that's a part of them stopping the run game is how hard they play.
7, 8 guys in the Bucs.
As well as below expectations to start the season. You guys feel like you handled the bye week mentally as you should have?
I thought we did, to be honest with you, the mental aspect of it, but now translating it and coming out here and doing our job, absolutely not. So I thought we still had a good week of practice, knocking the rust off after the bye week, but just not to come out here and not execute. That's inexcusable.
An attitude thing? Is it a physical thing of just maybe having too much rest? What do you attribute that to?
At a certain point, we got to get pissed off as an offense. We should be putting a lot of points up on the board. It's got to be, we talk about the standard about winning around here, but offensively we need to look at it in a smaller picture. We should be putting up a lot more points than we have been, and so we need to be accountable with that, and starts with me, and we'll get that going.
Baker, a lot of talk going into this week was the job Luke and the guys had to do against Aiden Hutchinson and those guys on the D-line. How do you think although they seem like they did pretty good?
I thought they did good. They have guys that they play really hard, so there was always a couple guys that would come loose late in the pass play. hit my hand a couple times. They would just, a little bit of annoying pass rush. They wouldn't get any sacks, but just hit home and let their presence be known. So they do a good job. But our guys did a good job as well.
Baker, how disappointing has the running game been? It's been up and down for you guys all year. Really struggled today again.
Yeah, disappointing. You got to be able to run the ball to win in this league consistently. But it's not just the run game. It's the pass game execution. Obviously today on third downs, and then anytime we had the ball, didn't execute. So there's a lot of things we have to fix. So we're going to look at the mirror. It's going to be harsh, but our guys can take it because we know where we want to go.
How much more difficult does it make it offensively, though, when you're having trouble finding balance like you did today against Philadelphia?
I mean, it is hard when you can't find your rhythm whatsoever. It makes it very difficult. But
got to be able to run.
That should have sparked us, should have been able to get us going and get into a rhythm. We just didn't continue it. So that was the disappointing part about today.
Did you play at the finger or throwing in there?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm all over the place.
He's got a gash on his throwing hand too.
Yeah, turf burn. I mean, I don't even want to say anything about the refs because I'll get a fine letter. But I'm all cut up from the freaking sideline stuff, the carpet and whatnot. So, wish they'd call it both ways.
Baker Mayfield right there, and that was the push out of bounds. He got a little, it was an aggressive push, but I think it was Hutchinson that got him out of bounds. He was technically still in the field of play when Hutchinson made contact with him. So,
it's a play they usually call.
They call it all
the time.
Way. They call it all the time. There's no reason to forcibly hit him like that as he's going out of bounds, as he's giving himself up. Normally, they're going to call that. So.
Right. And they picked up 2 other flags on the Bucs in this one, and I know I'm in the crowd and everybody's chanting, "Be it," like, you know what I mean. But like the late in the game, the hit on Godwin, I thought that was a good pickup. To be honest with you, I didn't. Yeah,
he hit him with the shoulder.
He hit him with the shoulder. I didn't see a problem with that. And then there was another one down at the red zone. I think it was after the 3rd and 1 play to Mike when they went for it. Yeah. And they threw a flag there. And when I saw the replay, I'm like, there's nothing there. Pick that flag up. And, of course, fans lose their mind. I get it. But I thought the refs actually did good on those 2 plays, at least picking those up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a play that the OPI on Mike was a good call. He pushed the guy in the back with 2 hands, extended it. You're going to get that call every time. Mike's got to be better. You got to be better. There's
holding. Like I saw a lot of people online talking about holding penalties not being called. It's kind of, at least from my point where I'm sitting in the field, it's hard for me to really comment on it. I can't see. It's easier, I guess, to see those things on the TV copy. But I mean,
that's especially in line play. It's happening all over the place.
There's nothing the referees did in that game that, in my opinion,
you got to make plays, man.
You just got to make plays.
It's so often we want to blame coaches. Here I am like, oh, you took 3 days off. You could have been working. And maybe that cleans up the execution when missing plays on deep balls. Stay sharp. Would they have been more sharp if they were? And I know you can't go in pads, but if Baker was out there for 2 or 3 more days last week, throwing 125 passes to his receivers at full speed, get them to go, would they have been better? I'm going to say yes. Right. I'm going to say yes. I mean, having 7 straight days off, as far as, and that I don't know for sure, but that's what we've been told, and that's what he said in the post practice. I mean, is that really going to get your team in the best condition to play? And I keep going back to it, and I think your whole point about there was more attention on the fact that there were creamsicles this week than the fact that there was a 3-1 team playing a 4-1 team.
Right.
There was very little talk of, oh man, this is we did it on our show. We were talking football. But I think for the most part, and even, and I wasn't in the locker room for Thursday and Friday's media sessions, but a lot of it, they were asking, and you got to ask about the creamsicles. You don't want to just talk about football all the time. But I don't know. Was that top of mind for the players? I don't know.
That's what I'm just saying. I feel like those things are for the fans.
Right, exactly.
Than the players. And that's where I think it should sit. Again, not the reason necessarily lost the game, but it's just I'm just wondering what was going on in one Buck for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I think that's all I'm wondering.
Yeah, you should have been better prepared. From what we saw on the field yesterday, I think it's fair to ask the question,
right,
was this team prepared coming off a bye week?
Correct.
Did you have your best game plan available against the Lions. And while they were out playing last week, you were sitting at home. And what were we doing? I don't know. It didn't.
Yeah, it's a fair question. I personally had two other points in the game. And we've talked about the running game and everything, and the lack of it. And everybody's talking about the offensive line, and they're not getting push. To your point, I think that's obvious. They're not pushing anybody. I'm not saying that they have gaping holes everywhere, like some of these other teams I see. But I guess part of this is. I don't think they have a dude in that backfield at all. I mean, I've seen 20-plus games of Rachaad White, and I couldn't have been more far off on, 1,000 yards. Like, I don't know if this guy's going to get 500 yards at this rate. I mean, I just, to me, there's a lot of great running backs in this league, and usually they shine right away.
Right.
You see them. You see them right away. You see talent. You see spurts. I just don't see, there's nothing there that's special about Rachaad White, and even when, they talk about he's so good in the passing game and all that.
Where's that
at?
I don't see it yesterday. There. He needed to
He doesn't turn up field. He doesn't make plays in space. He's to steal what Steve Smith said about Jerry Jeudy last week. He's a jag. He's just a guy.
Yeah,
he's just a guy. And Keyshawn Vaughn, he's not even a guy. He's just he's unplayable.
I think he's gone downhill. I really do. I think
he's unplayable.
His attitude, obviously, earlier missing things earlier this year. I've seen some, we saw some sparks in that, it was the Germany game or where he made some people miss and he was running over people. I don't see that dude anymore.
He had 6 carries for 9 yards yesterday and his long was 7.
Yeah.
So do the math on the other 5 carries.
Yeah. And it's, it's hard, even when you're watching the all 22, it's hard to say, he should have taken a cut here. He should have taken a cut there because you don't know how they're practicing the play and, whether they're stressing, hug that guy that's leading you up through the hole, or if you see daylight, just go to it. I don't know exactly how they're being coached, but it's a results-oriented game,
I don't see anything schematically. From a scheme standpoint, I don't know what they're trying to do with the running game.
Exactly.
I hate to bring his name up again, but what looks different from the Byron Leftwich run scheme to the Dave Canales run scheme? And this is a guy who came from Seattle, which has always been able to run the football with undrafted players, 5th-round picks, 6th-round picks. It didn't matter.
Yes.
Okay. Dave Canales has talked a big game about this run game, and he said it 2 weeks ago. I'm going to be stubborn about it. That I don't want to hear that.
I don't either.
You can't do it. And I guess the problem there is, and this is where the Bucs are going to run into trouble against these good teams. You can't run the ball, but you don't necessarily want Baker Mayfield throwing 40 times a game either, because that's not his game.
Nope.
So how are you going to win games? Well, you've got to win the turnover battle. The Bucs are 3-0 this year when they've won the turnover battle. They're 0-2 when they don't. And yesterday, Todd Bowles was trusting his defense a lot. I mean, even, again, 17-6, they were down there in the fourth quarter. At their own 33, 4th and 2. What is he doing? He's punting.
Yeah.
He rather would have taken a chance on his defense getting a turnover yesterday, but it wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
It just wasn't going to happen.
You didn't feel that. Yeah. Not the way they were playing. You got to be, I think you got to go for it in that situation. I agree. It's the run game right now. As I sit here,
they're worse
5
last
games
year.
in,
They're averaging 2.9 a carry. They were 3.3 last year.
Oof, it's just, you can't at some point, and this is where it catches up with you, right? This is where it catches up with you on film. They're like, teams will go, well, listen, we could just play 6 guys up front and we're going to be able to stop the run. That gives us 5 in coverage. I mean, we'll take that all day long. That's advantage defense. Right. So now you're really swimming upstream. And it comes down to that cat and mouse game. Do we have to put that extra guy in the box? Then the offense has the advantage, right. And you're keeping people off balance. So
I think I think Chase Edmonds actually is the best back on this football team.
Yeah.
I know we didn't see him much before he got hurt, but I saw a guy who has some burst to him. Yep. I always liked Chase Edmonds. You watch some of his stuff in Arizona.
Yeah.
There was a time there where he could, like I said, I use the word scoot a lot. He can do that. He just goes. And I think it's worth giving Chase. If we're going to give Keyshawn Vaughn the same amount of touches as Rachaad White, I think we can do the same thing with Chase Edmonds when he gets back. And I mean, you got nothing else to lose.
No question.
And just let's get some runs. I keep saying this, like on the outside, the perimeter, like. Those, to me, are like non-existent. Now, you don't really have a tight end who can block. That's a big problem, too.
Yeah.
Kate Otten can't block.
No, he can't.
I hate to tell you. He just can't block.
It's easy to set the edge with these guys. Yeah.
It's very easy to set the edge, so maybe that's why they're not doing it. It's a mess.
If I'm Jason Light, I'm scouring. I'm looking at other rosters to see if I can find a guy that other teams are trying to hide, Isaiah Pacheco or somebody like that who's got some burst. We don't even know his name right now, right? We don't even know who he is, but there's somebody on another roster that's got some burst, that's got some size, that's got a little bit of juice that might be able to help this team, because I was wrong about Rashad White. I thought Keyshawn Vaughn could give you something, but I think he's gone downhill. I think he's regressed. He just hasn't gotten any better. So, I think you got to go find somebody at this point, or you got to hand it over to Chase Edmonds, because these two guys just ain't getting it done.
They're not it. And my last point,
and the offensive line is not. I don't see a lot of push at all.
They're not. Yeah. It's all a mess. And my last point there, away from the running game, is on Mike Evans, who I thought he was just rough yesterday all around. And I saw you put the tweet out there, and this is the guy y'all want to pay, $20+ million to.
To hell
Listen,
no.
I love Mike Evans.
We love him.
I love Mike Evans.
Love everything he's given
as
this
a player. I love him as a player. He's done everything for this team, man.
Yeah.
But I have questions of why is it, I feel like this happens in big games with Mike. He seems like more so than some of the other top receivers in this league, he seems like he has these stinkers. A pretty good amount throughout the season. You can almost see there's 3 or 4 games a season where he's completely out of the game, or he makes a key drop. And now this is twice. Against Philly, he had a rough game against Philly.
3 key drops.
3 key drops against Philly. And then I keep hearing these announcers. I saw someone sent it to me yesterday. These announcers are like, "Oh, that's a rare drop from Mike Evans." They're not rare, folks.
No,
they're not
at
rare.
all.
And I just hate elite receivers in this game. Don't do it. Amon-Ra St. Brown is making catches all over the field yesterday, even when they're contested. It doesn't matter what scenario there is. That guy's coming down with those plays. Mike Evans didn't make any plays yesterday for the Bucs. And your elite receivers, if that's what you are, and this is the guy you want to pay $20+ million to and just bow down because you want to be loyal, that's not how the league works, man.
No.
And I'm just saying, I think Chris Godwin's a more reliable target than Mike Evans on a game-to-game basis. I truly feel that way.
Oh, no question.
You can talk about Mike's yardage and this and that.
Is ridiculously different.
Yeah, I'm just putting that out there. I'm not trying to throw dirt on Mike or anything. I'm just having an honest conversation that it seems like teams are able to take him out of the game a lot easier than other talented receivers in this league, and he has these moments where there's a lack of mental concentration for him.
Yeah, no, I agree. And you got to ask yourself, it's just, it may not be fair, but you got to ask yourself at some point, how much of this is attached to the fact that he did not get paid,
Well, usually guys come out and they come out flying after these kind of situations. I mean, different sport, but, the best player on the ice for the Lightning through 3 games, for what it's worth, has been Steven Stamkos, in my opinion. And guess what? He wants to get paid. It's usually how those things work. Yeah. And Mike had a great start to the season, but again, the 2 biggest games this year, he's been a no-show. And your best players can't be no-shows in the biggest games.
Yep. No, I agree. You got to be a difference maker. And I've said this all year, it's a salary cap league. Who are you paying on this team right now? Let's do this real quick. And tell me what kind of production you're getting from these guys. Because you start right off the top, Mike Evans, right? Mike Evans, how much is he really giving you?
It's hit or miss every game.
It's hit or miss every game. And he's your top paid player at $13 million. Devin White, making any splash plays yesterday? 11.76
barely noticed him.
Barely noticed him. These are your top paid players. Shaq Barrett, we don't want to dump on him because of what's happened to him, and it's horrible to say it. He's not producing. He's your 3rd highest paid player on this team, and he's not producing. Right. Chris Godwin, producing big time.
Yeah,
making plays.
Needs more to his way.
Feed his ass. Yeah. Feed his ass. He should have the most targets every single game. Next up, Carlton Davis. I'll wait on the great play. He made 1 play early on in the season on a 3rd down. He had a knockaway. Any other game-changing plays from Chris Godwin?
Does he get any interceptions?
I mean, Carlton Davis?
Does he have any interceptions? Nope. Number 1 corners in this league take the ball away.
Yeah. No. Next up, Vita Vea. Been pretty good.
I think Vita's playing really well.
Been pretty good. Jamel Dean, no show.
Awful.
He's cost you. So of your top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paid players, the top 7, 2 are making a difference. 2 are making a difference,
Right.
and that's Chris Godwin and Vita Vea. Everybody else,
Yeah. And the player who was the
Not
guy who had
much.
the best
Not
player on the
much.
field yesterday for the Bucs on either side of the ball, arguably, was the rookie in his first. I'm going to call this his first game, Kalijah Cansey.
Yep.
He was the only one that had a consistent, who had any sort of like multiple reps that I saw where he got home obviously late in the game against golf, or he got close.
Yeah.
The only one.
Yeah.
And that's the rookie.
Yeah, next on the list, by the way, is Tristan Wirfs. Clearly, I would say at this point with Chris Godwin,
he's
the best
all pro
player
level.
on the team.
All pro level.
And then you get Joe Tryon.
Nothing. Nothing.
I mean, less than nothing. Less than nothing. That's a really sweet sunglasses on last night, though. Last night.
That's great.
Last night. He had sweet sunglasses. Antoine Winfield Jr. is next up, and Kalijah Cansey, both balling. Both of those guys. And Kalijah, finally one game. He's been able to play because of injury, but he looks like a baller.
He made a difference.
And then, then we get to Logan Hall. Pair of shoes. Anthony Nelson, Jag, Levante David.
He's fantastic yesterday.
Unbelievable.
I should actually he was the best player on the field. He was a little bit better than Cansey. He was everywhere yesterday.
Yeah. And Levante was fantastic. And then you start getting into Baker Mayfield's, Greg Gaines, Kyle Trask. I mean, and that's the other thing we have to remember, folks. There's a lot of dead money on this salary cap right now. There's a lot of dead money.
Right.
That was, we knew that was going to happen. This is we're paying for, but that's all the more reason when your top paid guys have got to produce. They've got to lead your team. They're not doing it. Top 3 guys: Mike Evans, Devin White, Shaq Barrett.
They probably had more of a negative impact to the game yesterday. If there was such thing, I'm sure there's an analytic out there for negative
they'd
points
have
or
negative
whatever.
War.
Yeah, they definitely were. They were definitely in negative war yesterday. Those 3 guys.
Yeah, I mean, how can you? You can't. That just can't be. You're not going to be a good football team like that. You are not going to be a good football team.
Honestly, big picture thing, my opinion of the Bucs doesn't change much. I still think it's an 8 or 9 or 9-8 win football team because I think they can hang. Like when they play Atlanta this week, they should beat that team.
Oh God, yes.
Right?
Oh God,
they should beat that team. You look at the rest of the schedule. The big 3 games that they're probably going to struggle in is going to be Buffalo away, San Francisco away, and then at home on I think Christmas Eve against the Jaguars at home. Those are the 3 big games left. Every other game on that schedule, in a perfect world, you want to take care of business in all of them. It's probably not going to happen, but I think they can hang with the rest of the team. So it's I don't want to paint a picture like it's certainly doom and gloom, but if we're expecting them to win a playoff game, if that's what you really want, they're far off that level right now, I think.
Yeah.
I think right now they can get in, especially because the division, I mean, they lost no ground yesterday. The division still stinks.
Yeah.
And I still think the Bucs are the best of what's left in that division.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a pathway for them to be a better football team. Okay. Right. And I'm going to take a break and we'll talk about that on the way back. And I'm going to get to this Jason Whitlock tweet, and we got college football to get to as well. So a lot more coming your way. We thank all of our great sponsors, the Jeeves Law Group, obviously, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, Italiano Insurance, the Golden Diamond Source, Extravaganza Productions, and American Mortgage Services. Also, the Patio. Great folks at the Patio. I know you guys were there this weekend watching games. The Tampa Gator Club was absolutely packed that place for a big win, and it's always the best place to go watch football. We'll be there Friday night. We're switching to Friday night for our live remote from 5 to 7 o'clock. Come on down. We're presented by White Claw. Get $4 White Claw seltzers, $4 White Claw vodka drinks. Where you find that around town? You don't. So come on out to the Patio. The weather's nice now. Great place to watch all the games under the palm trees right there at 421 South McDill, about 3 blocks south of Kennedy on McDill. Back in 3 with we'll hear from Todd Bowles. We'll talk some college football and the Jason Whitlock tweet. Want to get to that. What's wrong with the NFL? Stay with us. All fall is here. The holidays are coming, and the Golden Diamond Source will be your trusted jewelry destination as they have been for the past 4 decades. Yes, the Golden Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry supercenter with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to spend any extra time waiting for them to bring something in or order something. Everything is in-house. And if you want to get shopping before the holidays, you can get low financing, start early, for up to 5 years. Looking for a pre-owned Rolex or one of those baller watches? They have a huge selection at the Golden Diamond Source, so go check those out as well. And of course, we always say keep it local. Great philanthropist, Julie and Steve Weintraub. Love those folks. Do so much for the community. So if you got to shop for jewelry, why not shop at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on a Bitch and Moan Monday. We got to get to some of our commenters over there. I'm sorry, we've ignored them for far too long tonight. So we'll get to this. This from our friend James. Why not design an offense like Sal is saying during the bye week, just like they did when they won the Super Bowl in 2020? They should have done what Sal is saying instead of taking it off. I agree. There were very few wrinkles in this offense that you would expect. You know, those are times for self-scouting. It's time to get better. It's time to vary your offense. Time to get better. We saw nothing new. Did you see anything new, Nick? I didn't see much new.
No, I thought they took a step backwards, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like you said, there was less motion in this game and rollouts and all that. Like, I thought they took a big step backwards.
TJC22 said Baker's hit on his throwing hand was to his middle finger, and it happened in the middle of the first. Yep. That's like Sal Pal says, and if you've played quarterback at any level, as I have, when you hurt your finger, you can't follow through with the pass. Even if they numb it up, if they have to stitch it up, then you just don't have the feel for the ball. And that's where you spin it. That's where you get your, the flick of the wrist and the velocity of it. That last moment, everything happens with your body, but at that last moment, that's how you direct the pass. And maybe that hurt him on the deep ball, because he's been really good. He's been really good. This is another good one by TJC. By the way, thanks for jumping in here, TJC22. Love your stuff. I think the idea on 3rd and 1 was you're going to go for it on 4th. The OPI changed that plan. Yeah, I was criticizing that 3rd and 1 throw to Mike Evans. Maybe not the worst call in the world.
But can I interject though? And I know I'm just looking ahead, and it's easy for me to say this now, but we know when Mike Evans is going up in a 50-50 scenario, more than any receiver in this league, he's very physical and he gets very handsy.
Yep.
So I'm just this is completely Monday morning quarterback, and I don't expect this to be on Dave Canales' mind in the middle, but I'll just point it out there because it did happen. The likelihood of Mike Evans getting OPI on that play is probably 50-50 because of how handsy he's going to get.
More probable than him making the play.
Right. I mean, I'm just putting it out there. Again, totally Monday morning quarterback, but.
James Flash, Ludeman, turning points to pick in the first quarter. Good defensive play on the tip, but they changed the entire complexion of the game. I mean, you're watching the replay on this, and the safety is flat-footed.
Right.
And Mike is in full stride. So I don't understand why Baker did not pull the trigger. I don't know if it's his first window, second window thing. Like the first window in the seam, he was covered. The safety bit. But when you're reading the safety and he's flat-footed, it's almost like, at least when I was coached up, is like you're not even looking at your receiver. It's like dribbling a basketball. You don't look at the basketball, but you know where Mike is and you know where he's going. And you're just looking at the safety. And when he's flat-footed, that ball's going up and over his head. You're not looking at that seam throw. And that's like, Baker's been really good with that. And he knows this. I'm not saying Baker doesn't know it. He's sitting there going, why the hell did I double clutch that? I got to let that go right away. He knows this. So why didn't you? It's just like he was rusty almost, right? It's like he's been making those plays and making those good reads and doing that all year long. And this week he just didn't do it. It was almost like, he spent the weekend in Oklahoma, making picks. I don't want to begrudge the man that. I love me some Baker Mayfield. It's his time. He needs to do that stuff. I get it. But, and you got the time off, go enjoy yourself, but keep your head in the game. And they did. When you take that time off and you come out and you put a stinker up like that, you're open to this criticism as a team, not just Baker. What else we got here? I think this kind of speaks to I need a clown nose to wear that stupid Brady creamsicle I bought since it didn't drop at all stot yet. Yeah.
Lonnie, why did you buy a Brady creamsicle jersey?
Yeah, see, that's
I have a problem with the fact that yesterday I walked around in the team store a little bit, and the only creamsicle jerseys they were selling were Brady and Evans. Tom Brady never wore the creamsicle. He's never going to wear the creamsicle. So why are we selling it?
Didn't want to win the creamsicle, by the way.
So why are we selling it?
Because it's the best seller?
I cringed when I saw people wearing the Brady creamsicle jersey yesterday.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. What else we got? TJC, you're on fire today, buddy.
Should have
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt.
A trade for Ramondre Stevenson.
I like that.
The Patriots have nothing to play for.
They have nothing to play for. We've been a trading partner for the Patriots in the past.
We haven't talked about this yet. Lonnie Wilkins, see your tweet, Nick. Detroit fans raided the stands, and the Rays had no fans. Rough stretch for us Tampa fans. Look, I try to be on the side of the fans here, the Tampa Bay fans, but if I'm being completely objective right now, it's hard to defend. The baseball stuff, I'm going to give you guys passes because of Stu. You know, I can't. It's just so hard for me to tell people to go, drop $400 on baseball playoff tickets in the middle of the afternoon, and support that guy. I can't.
Let's be fair. It wasn't $400. It was, $30, but, just putting it out there.
Not with fees. I'm
Okay,
talking about the good seats.
Okay, $40. Let me just say that. Like, I made that tweet right after the game. I was pissed off.
What did you tweet?
Should I have called this a laughing stock as a market? Maybe that's a little harsh because I recognize the Lions do this. They did this to Lambeau.
Yeah, they did.
The Lions are passionate fans. This is the first time that they've had a team that they're really, really proud of from a complete standpoint, and they've been waiting for this. I get that. I hear people talk all about, well, a lot of people in Michigan live here, and, I get it. But, man, where were they sitting? Where were they sitting specifically? They were sitting in the lower bowl seats.
Yeah.
Season ticket holders.
Yeah.
Why the F do you have season tickets just so you could turn a profit on it and put the opposing team's fan bases in your own stadium?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That doesn't happen in big markets. It doesn't happen. And yesterday in that game, the Lions are kicking your ass. And in third and fourth quarter, the Bucs fans are quiet, and the Lions fans, you hear the chant, "Let's go Lions," and it's very loud. And it's demoralizing to sit in the stands and hear the other team take it over like that.
Well,
it was just an awful experience from that standpoint for me personally. This is not new. This is going on forever. Okay? So it is what it is, I guess, with this market. But am I allowed to be frustrated by it? I'm just frustrated by it, is all. I just want this market to have a passionate fan base, and there is a contingency of passionate fans out there. But people that keep telling me that we don't have history enough built up, this franchise has been here for 50 years. This is not a franchise that was born 5-10 years ago, and we got to build this up from the ground. It's been here for 50 years, JP, and we still don't have a consistent enough fan base to put 60,000 people, Bucs fans, in the seats. And this is every game. This was the Bears. This
3
is the
years
Eagles.
removed from winning a Super Bowl. 2 years
Correct.
removed from winning 13 games.
And people that are making excuses, well, Tom Brady's not here, and they didn't want to.
I don't want to hear that.
You're not a real fan, then. You're not a real fan. I sat in those stands to watch Josh Freeman, Mike Glennon, Josh McCown, Jameis Winston, and got my heart broken. But I did it because I'm a fan. Some of you need to look in the mirror and evaluate if you're a real fan or not.
Oh, they're fans when they want to wear the creamsicle.
This was the biggest game of the year. This was the biggest game of the year. The creamsicle, which we've been dying for a decade. Okay, The Lions are the best team on the home schedule all year. Where were you? Why are you selling tickets? And by the way, not a reason why they lost, but JP, I think there's something to this. When you go on the road, right, and you're expecting, it's going to be hostile, whatever that. Raymond James is not a hostile environment for anybody because they know they're going to have their fan base in there. And when you're on the road and you're looking for that, that extra little, motivation, whatever, and you look into the crowd and you see your people are there.
Yeah.
To me, that rallies a road
Well, and just
team.
from a noise standpoint, if they're getting all the good tickets down low,
right,
you're not going to make it. It's not going to be a home field advantage.
Right.
And this year seems to be worse than any year.
I'm saying it's getting worse, and that to me rallies a road team. When they come into Raymond James Stadium. It matters, man. You can't tell me it doesn't matter.
No, and I heard some people on Twitter saying, well, it's the Bucs' fault because they jacked up the ticket prices during the Brady years, and now Bucs fans are selling them and making a profit. I'm like, and I don't know, in these hard economic times, again, it's hard for me to bitch at people for, taking a profit, a handsome profit from Detroit fans. But we got to, you know what? If we're doing that, we got to take the slings and arrows. Like Jeff Darlington of ESPN put this out yesterday, NFL Network, said, I've seen a lot of opposing fan bases make noise for their team after a win, but the Lions may have topped them all today. Or as Jared Goff said to me as he left the field, are you seeing this? Best fans in the effing league. And he says this video is well after the game. I saw it. They took over the entire lower level. They all came down. I guess the ushers just let anybody in a Lions jersey come down near the field at the end of the game, which I don't know if you can really stop them at that point, really. It's demoralizing.
Right, and it's not like I had a bad experience with Lions fans. It's not like the Eagles where they're obnoxious and you're miserable and like that. It wasn't that. It's just an optics thing for me. Yeah. It's an optics thing for me. It's not a good look, and coming off what happened with the Rays, it's a bad look for this market. It's all a bad look for this market for other people. And again, your excuse card, for my opinion, continues to run very low.
I can't argue with you, bro. I can't argue with you. Bucs fans got to be better. If you want to criticize your team and say, they came out flat and sluggish, well, guess what? You did too. As a fan base, you didn't answer the bell. And I'll try to get Brian Ford on this week. I don't know if he wants to answer these questions, to be quite honest. I know at one point they were vigilant in trying to figure out who was selling their tickets and sanctioning people who are selling their tickets. But here's the thing. Brady's gone now. And supply and demand for tickets is not what it used to be. So it's if they want to hold every Buccaneer season ticket holder's feet to the fire and say, hey, you know what? You sell your tickets twice in the season, you're done. Okay, is there anybody getting in line to buy those tickets? I don't know. In this economy, I don't know. That's so it's a business decision. Do you want to just, start throwing season ticket holders out? I guess at some point maybe you have to. Maybe you have to. You still can't keep them from selling them in certain markets, although Ticketmaster and the NFL have made it almost impossible for you to sell your tickets through any other venue than Ticketmaster, which another thing I have a problem with. But that being said, they can track these tickets a great deal of them, and they know who's selling them. But then it's hard to say, well, who are you selling them to? I guess if they have Detroit addresses or zip codes, you'll find out. But what if they're selling them to Detroit fans that have Hillsborough,
right. I understand that. A lot of people in Michigan live in Tampa Bay. I get that. And let me tell you this. I'm the lucky one, folks. I just happen to be the lucky one because quick thing. My dad was born in Long Island. Jets, Mets, Islanders. He moved to Tampa in the 90s, okay, right before I was born. And he changed allegiances because he lived in Tampa now.
Yeah.
So I was the lucky one. I could have been just like everyone else that was just raised the way that their parents were raised and they didn't live here before. I get it. So maybe I'm the lucky one.
They forced them to be Eagles fans or Detroit fans.
Exactly. I became the lucky one. I was raised a Tampa Bay sports fan. I'm from here, and I'm very proud of that. And in the end of the day, I'm just frustrated, and I want to see more passion from all the fan bases in Tampa Bay because we're not a small market, and I still think there's a lot of people that are from here, born here, proud of it, and we need to act like it.
It's a good point. I wanted to get to this as well. Jason Whitlock put this out today, the most fearless writer in all of sports, in my opinion. He said, so far this week, only 2 NFL teams scored more than 26 points, the Dolphins and the Jaguars. We're in an era of mediocre, inconsistent quarterback play. The game has been dumbed down because of lack of practice time and players oversatiated with cash. True. Players think more about jersey swaps, coordinated celebrations, social media branding, and being victims than actually competing. 2 teams scored 4 touchdowns. Receivers wear gloves that make catching the ball easier than ever. True. Make it make sense. Less contact, rules designed to promote scoring, worse product. But NFL actors are making more money than ever before. We're watching the final 3 seasons of Game of Thrones show that was bad for 3 years. No one recognized it until it was over. Goodell is ready to ink a new contract extension for $70 million a year. The NFL is Enron. I think he's spot on. Listen, if I'm being honest about the NFL, it's always attracted the masses because it's a gladiator sport, but it's not really a gladiator sport anymore. And a lot of these guys are really hard to root for. And you would say, well, you're bloodthirsty, JP. You're a gladiator. Listen, entertainment's entertainment. Any way you want to slice it. Is this an entertaining product? For the most part, no, it's not. I said this last week. Give me Saturday and Sunday full of college football, and I'll take it in a heartbeat. I love my Bucs, but outside of the Buccaneers, like I'm watching that Bills slop last night, the Bills-Giants slop. These teams can't even complete a pass 4 yards down the field.
I guess here's my rebuttal though.
It's awful. It's awful. Any contact in the game where you go, oh, that's a good hit. You're like, here come the flags.
I understand. My rebuttal though is from a business standpoint, the NFL is making more money now than they ever have.
True.
It's a machine.
True.
The ratings are higher now
True.
than they've ever been. People don't have a problem finding what channel the game is on or what streaming service. Whatever it's on, they watch.
Well, actually,
I watch. I love the NFL. And it's 1 week. I get it. There's a bad quarterback play being around the league right now. I get all that. But I personally, and here's the other thing too. What happened to all the people who have been saying for years, well, the NFL's turned into a pass-happy league, and I liked it better in the old days when people played defense and all that. So now we're seeing good defense around the league and low-scoring games,
are we
and now
seeing
people
good
got a
defense,
problem.
or are we seeing bad offense?
I'm sure it's always a mixture of the two, but so now we're not having the high. I mean, again, this is weird to talk about because I got a team that just scored 70 points 3 weeks ago in an NFL game, right? That happened 3 weeks ago. The Dolphins, they actually scored, I think, 35 points yesterday. They got no problem scoring. I've seen the Bills do it. The Chiefs, when they want to and they're motivated, can do it. The Bengals of the world, there's teams out there that can do it. I think it was a week where, I know it's easy to come up with these discussions now after 1 week where it looked pretty bad out there.
Oh, I think it's been bad all year.
But I still think the league is very healthy.
The NFL product has been bad for years, to be quite honest. I've been talking about this for years. I think the NFL product is terrible. It's sterile. It's it's the same. The teams run the same plays for the most part. It's just there's a little bit of variation, but it's not a very physical league anymore. And there's a lot of the politics of the league, the all the shenanigans of the league and the players. Yeah, that bothers me. A lot. It's just like these guys are getting paid gazillions of dollars to piss me off. I'm sorry. I know the younger generation doesn't want to hear any of that, but I'm talking the older generation. A lot of it, the Jason Whitlocks and I, it's just.
But I get annoyed when I see certain things at the NFL. Like, you want your players to have some personality and stuff like that, right? And I see Tyreek Hill getting fined for celebrations after scoring touchdowns. And yesterday. He's doing backflips.
I don't have a problem with that.
Like, why? Those are the things the NFL cracks down on. And yes, the roughing the passer penalties still make no sense. You saw it last night and Monday night. Josh Allen gets that's not roughing the passer, but he gets called. I mean, I'm more upset with the roughing the passer rules and probably the inconsistencies in the refereeing.
This is another thing. Yesterday, why do we have to have a 5-minute discussion on every freaking flag that hits the ground? It's maddening.
It was odd.
It's maddening.
It was every single flag. There was a discussion.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It just. I want to get to some other stuff too. We talked a lot about the Bucs, and we'll do some more of that the next couple of days as we break down the film. College football this weekend. FSU, I thought, looked really, really. How about Keon Coleman? Anybody want to draft Keon Coleman and not pay Mike Evans? Raise your hand. Hello. Oh my God. How good is that guy for Florida State? 9 catches, 160 some yards.
Is he the best receiver that you've seen since Peter Warwick?
Yes.
At FSU?
Without question. Not even close. The one-handed catch, but all the contested catches, and he's a hell of a punt returner too. He's unbelievable.
He had the Peter Warwick game on Saturday.
Yeah, unbelievable. And the FSU varied their offense. They had 10 players catch passes, 7 players catch footballs. Maybe that's Winston Wright leaving may have said, hey, we need to start feeding other people and getting them touches.
Hakeem Williams, the 5-star recruit.
Hakeem Williams, what a catch. Caught a little screen pass and was gone. I mean, he can play. Ja'Kai Douglas. They've got a lot of other weapons that they can use that they need to start using.
And Johnny didn't even play.
Yeah, Johnny Wilson didn't play. And I thought the offense was more varied. I think they become stale just, with the jump balls to Johnny and Keon when you've got so many other weapons. And Jaheim Bell, Teofili had a nice touchdown run. You got a lot of guys that can make plays. You need to vary this offense so that there's more on tape for defenses to have to stop. And then your other guys are even more, your primary guys are even more dangerous. So I thought they varied the offense. That was good defensively. They were better. They were a hell of a lot better this week defensively, especially on third down.
Yeah.
They shut down a running quarterback in Garrett Schrader, and they did what they had to do against Syracuse. So I thought FSU definitely improved. A couple of stupid 4th down calls, I think, by Mike Norvell, but I think he realized Syracuse, he could defend. He could depend on his defense. Yep. It didn't matter. So they look great. Florida escapes with a win. Finally gets a win at South Carolina. Huge win for them.
Great win. On the road.
They needed that.
On the road. Graham Mertz, man.
Dude,
he's
can play.
doing a good job. He's doing a great.
Look at his numbers; are off the charts.
Yeah,
his numbers are off the charts.
What a surprise he's been. 5-2, the Florida Gators. How can you really complain with that? 5-2.
You can't. And I know Gator fans are going nuts. We're going to talk to one in a couple of seconds, but they're pretty. They should be happy with where they're at in a rebuilding year. You know, you be happy with where you're at, and they got a chance now with Georgia. Georgia still looks a little stale to me, and Brock Bowers is hurt. So, and they depend on him a lot. So they might be a little bit more gettable in a couple weeks. USF, what do you say about that, partner? Dude.
Wow. I mean,
FAU, you got boat raced by two bad teams, like bottom 25 teams the last 2 weeks. You didn't lose. You got boat raced.
Right.
That is not good. All the good feelings for USF, I think, are gone now.
Yeah, we talked about the follow-up to Alabama, and it started nice with the win over whatever it was, Navy. But wow, how can you go that backwards that quick? UAB and FAU,
two terrible teams.
Oh my goodness, man! Remember when I said FAU was close to surpassing USF?
Yeah,
yeah. They looks like they're out in front by a good margin.
Yeah,
right now.
Oh, yeah, not good. So we'll get into a little bit more college as we get through the week.
Oh, and by the way, Miami, LOL, just saying. LOL.
Miami did something that's very Miami of the last decade. They quit. They were in the game with North Carolina, got a little bit of adversity, and they quit. Yeah. Very Miami. And they quit on I think they quit on their coach. I think that is not a good thing right now. And they are going to come into Tallahassee and get their ass handed to them.
I hope so. I hope it's not one of those things where they play inspired football against Florida State this year. Because they've done this before. They sleepwalk against some other teams, and against Florida State, they play inspired. And I hope that's not where
I just don't think
this year,
I don't think Van Dyke's that good. I don't think that quarterback's that good. I think everybody thinks he's great, and he was injured last year. I don't think he's that good. I just don't. I don't see anything from him.
He's bang average.
Yeah, I don't see anything from him. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. Chris Lugo will join us from Bay Area Modern Medical Center. We'll get his Gator take, and we'll talk some health stuff that's going on right now, and we'll get some great information on nutrition and not being sick all the time. I finally beat this freaking whatever it is I had. So stay with us. Quick break. We'll talk with Chris Lugo, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. If you guys have any questions about nutrition, COVID, anything medical, put them in the comments, and we will ask Chris Lugo when we come back. Stay with us.
Sitting around the house. Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement cost, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. It will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
All right. Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at the Patio, the place to watch each and every football game. If you're heading on out, the weather's getting better. It's so nice outside, so why not go watch the games under the palm trees, under the stars at the Patio. Great happy hour each and every day from 3 o'clock to 7:30, so head on over there to the Patio, 421 South McDill, not far from Chris Lugo's office at Bay Area Modern Medical Center. What's up, Chris? How are you?
Nick Geddes is back. My brother
Nick is back.
Mother.
They can't keep me down, Chris. They can't keep me down.
They can't keep the man down, can they?
Nope.
I love it. Good to see you back, Nick.
It's good to see you, Chris. Hope you're doing good.
Go Gators. I see your Gator hat there.
Go Gators. I did it just for you.
Yeah. Nice win. Nice win by the Gators on the road at South Carolina.
Okay.
What, you're not getting excited? You got nothing for me?
It's rebuilding decade.
I'd like to be 5-2. I'd like to be 5-2 in a rebuilding year, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. JP had to deal with like 2-6 at this time of the year, like 3 years ago.
Lost to Jacksonville State, for God's sakes. I mean, it was bad. No, what problems do you have? I mean, listen, I know Billy Napier ain't the best, maybe ball of fire out there. His press conferences can be a little boring, but 5-2 ain't too bad. They're down 10 points down in the fourth quarter, and Graham Mertz leads you back. I mean, that 15 looked like the old 15, baby.
It did. It's stereotypical, SEC football though. Any given Saturday, something can happen to you. You know that.
Yeah.
I'm just glad we beat them a couple weeks ago. That was good.
Yeah. Be happy.
Right,
It's. I mean, you're going to get your ass handed to you when Florida State comes to town, but
there we go.
No, I think it's going to be. That'll be a very interesting game, depending on where FSU is, and FSU should be undefeated coming in there. The Gators, nothing to lose in Gainesville, probably SEC refs. Yeah.
Same thing with Georgia, right?
Yeah.
A little swagger, like, hey, we got nothing to lose. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Just watch your young players getting better. That's all you got to do. That's what's important. So, all right. So what's going on over at Bay Area Modern Medical Center? What are you seeing out there? Any great advice for the folks out there to stay healthy? I know I had that freaking upper respiratory thing for about 2 weeks, but it's finally gone. So what's happening out there?
Yeah, so we got a couple little strange viruses going around. I think we're starting to see RSV rear its ugly head again, because I'll get people coming in and swab a negative for COVID, or I'll tell them, hey, go get swabbed, just make sure it's not, just so you know. But I think it's RSV that's going around. That's the big one. And back in the day, we didn't talk about RSV for adults. It was a kids thing, but now we're starting to see it with other people too.
And what do you do for it?
Do an IV. There's nothing you can do for it. If the breathing is that bad, then you're going to go on inhalers. Like I like Symbicort for an inhaler. I like albuterol for an inhaler, for a rescue inhaler. But other than that, you're just going to help treat the symptoms. That's what you're basically doing, riding out the viruses. Most viruses you got to ride out, unfortunately.
So my wife is a kindergarten teacher, and ever since she's gone back to school, she's had COVID. I had COVID, and we've been both just sick for the most part for the last 2 months on and off. So for us that, obviously there's a lot of sicknesses that come from the kindergarten classroom and they come into the house. Is it just one of those things where it's just bound to happen, or are there any things that we can do to try to change that?
Nick, how many kids do you have?
0.
Okay. Wait until you have kids. It's going to get even worse. All right. But you're building up your immune system right now. It's a great thing. But yeah, we talk about the other stuff. You guys should, like, your wife, knowing what I know now, your wife should be on quercetin every single day. She should be on zinc every single day, vitamin D every single day, taking some vitamin C every single day to kind of really help mitigate that risk. Those little fomites, as we would say, little petri dishes, are walking around, touching things, coughing and sneezing on things, and they get a headache, and then the next thing you know, they're bouncing off the wall again. They don't get affected like we do as adults. So they're still, passing on germs, and they're not looking like they're really that sick when they really are. So that's the big thing. Wash those hands, do what you can do to mitigate the risk.
Chris, I was reading an article this week about the American food supply and how much it's tainted by, chemicals, pharmaceuticals in the water. I mean, all of this stuff, it's really bad. And there's, the incidence of cancer and everything else is going through the roof, whether that's vaccine or related, which many studies say that it is. I don't know. Is there any way, what's the best way to protect yourself from all these toxins? Is there any way? Are there things we should be taking to maybe help cleanse our system? Any ideas?
Grow your own garden going and
go get a farm,
cattle on your own farm, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Our food supply system is really bad. And I told you guys this before, this country feeds the world, right? Corn is everywhere. When we have excess of it, what are we doing? I'm feeding the deer in Georgia with it. We're putting in fuel. It's high fructose corn syrup. It's in everything. Same thing with soy. It's in almost everything. So in how we're doing this with herbicides and pesticides, and everyone can know, like, oh, it's not that big of it. It really, truly, when you get down to brass taxes, it is a big deal. When you go to Europe, they don't allow the farmers to do what we do. That's why Nick, when you didn't get sick on your honeymoon, and you didn't feel bad because you're reading all that stuff because it was sourced from a different place, plain and simple. Yes, our food supply is broke. It's going to be a long time before it gets fixed. You just got to be buyer beware. That's going to be the big thing.
And is that just organic foods? Are they any better?
Yeah, your organic foods are going to be better, but make sure you're still doing your research because grass-fed is a big thing out there. But now you got to make sure it's grass-fed, grass-finished. Some people, it's not that big of it. It's only 1 month that those cows are coming in and eating grains. Well, grains and what's else in those grains? More hormones, antibiotics before they go to slaughter. So do your homework before you're buying some of this stuff. And yes, it's expensive. It really truly is. And that's the downfall about it, especially now we're going into winter, as we would say, economic winter, meaning we have a recession probably looming here. We got wars going on. So organic stuff is going to be more expensive and people are going to watch their budget, and the cheap stuff's in the middle of the grocery store.
Yeah.
Processed carbs.
Yeah, I'm curious too. I don't think I've been on since like this specific drink that I'm thinking of has become like huge, and that's the Prime drink, which I'm sure you've seen.
Oh my God. Yeah.
It's everywhere. It's the one that Logan Paul has made or whatever,
who's Logan Paul?
Sorry, well, Chris, you need to get an X handle and you'll know who Logan Paul is right away.
He hasn't done much of anything recently, correct?
Yeah, for sure. But no, I asked this question because, again, going back to the kindergarten thing, my wife sends me pictures throughout the day, and, there's 5-year-olds who are drinking the Prime energy drinks. And I'm thinking in my head, that doesn't seem right. That seems like parent negligence, if you ask me. But with that drink specifically, the Celsius has come to the forefront. Everybody, and a lot of people are drinking it like it's water. What are the true dangers of these drinks that keep getting perceived like,
as healthy
things for you?
Yeah.
So I don't mind the Celsius. If you look at the ingredients for a lot of these drinks, a lot of them are it's just water, it's vitamins, and it's caffeine and flavors to them. For the most part, the majority are, I don't want to say harmless, but it's all about poisons in the dose. One a day is not going to hurt you. When you're drinking one of those 4 or 5 times a day, that's no different from drinking a Coke 4 or 5 times a day. The difference is you're going to get a lot more caffeine in that. Yeah. And that caffeine can give you palpitations. So that little 5-year-old, 6-year-old should not be drinking that. They're going to be bouncing off the walls, depending if they're a fast metabolizer of caffeine or a slow metabolizer. But still, I would never give that to a young kid.
Yeah, that's bananas. I see that all the time for sure. And it's expensive too. How do you afford
but 200 milligrams is not a lot in caffeine wise, especially when and people fail to look at coffee. A lot of coffees have anywhere from 200 to 400 milligrams, depending on what size coffee they get. I mean, hell, people are drinking these 20 ounces, think, oh, it's no big deal, but 8 ounces is what we're basing everything off of. So it is a big deal when you start looking at the caffeine.
What's the most milligrams of caffeine you think you should have a day?
I think 200 is perfectly fine for the vast majority of people, but you've got to know if you're a slow metabolizer, fast metabolizer, or normal metabolizer of caffeine. I've got some paid people, and JP, you know, one of the guys who can drink 4 Mountain Dews and go to bed. People who look at a can of Celsius and they get palpitations.
Yeah, true. So true.
You've got to know your body. You've got to know genetically what you're made up of.
Yeah, and that's where individual medicine is important. This is what you preach all the time. You know, it's not a one size fits all for any of this stuff. You got to know how you metabolize everything, and that's what you guys do at Bay Area Modern Medical Center, right? You figure that stuff out.
One of the biggest ones is genetic tests we can do for psychological drugs, whether it be anxiolytic drugs or antidepressive drugs. You can do a swab. They'll look at the DNA and see how you're metabolizing this specific drug or this specific class. One day you will walk into a hospital. They will swab your mouth. They will run that, and then they will know exactly what drugs that your body will best metabolize. Yes. Now, hey, what antibiotic I think is best for you, but hey, what antibiotic is best for that bacteria? What drugs you're going to process better for pain drugs? That's going to be huge.
Yeah,
and that's in the future.
Yeah, but it's available now, right? You can do that now. You can get the test.
Psychological drugs, not for all drug classes, but one day it will be a big thing.
Interesting. All right, always good to talk with you, Chris, my friend. Congrats to your Gators. We'll work on the Lightning. I see you got a Lightning helmet back there too. We'll work on that as we go through. Not a good weekend for our Bolts, but we'll talk.
No, they looked a little sluggish. But, you know, Newsy Lalone looked pretty good. He's got that team up and running, so good for Newsy.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
Good seeing you, Chris.
All right.
All right, that'll do it for us today. Well, we got 2 hours and we still didn't get to all the stuff we wanted to get to today. So that's why we got the rest of the week. We'll talk some more college football. We'll get to some more with USF and what's going on there. So much more the rest of this week. So join us each and every day, 10 to 12 on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on our app, FanStream Sports. Download the app as well, folks, and on our website, fanstreamsports.com. Please like, and don't forget, you can go to our link tree and donate to the show. If you like what we're doing, please support us so we can keep doing what we're doing. That's on our link tree on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Please hit that donate button and throw us a few shekels. We'd appreciate that so we keep doing what we're doing. The independent voice of the fans here at the JP Peterson Show. Have a great day, everybody. Talk to you tomorrow.